So I don't know if you'll recall, if you watched, that was on the Real Life Street Stars back in I think early March or so. And I mentioned in the interview, shout out to Real Life Street Stars, I mentioned in the interview something about me consulting for Cash Money and them going through some stuff when I was in the kind of in the middle of it with Cash Money during the consulting. So I want to speak on that story right quick, just to give a full-length version of it because I never really spoke about it. Shout out to Baby and Slim. Matter of fact, I gotta reach out to Baby about something. Whack 100 put me back together with him. They changed numbers. So, back in around 2015, I was talking to the person that is now deceased, but that person was doing the day-to-day affairs for Cash Money. With the corporation, was dealing with the corporation. Let's just say, I don't want to say no names, but they were doing the day-to-day and dealing with the corporation for Cash Money. I was telling said person that there was some money out there and there was some royalty issues and things like that, and I could fix those issues. Probably took about a year's worth of talking for me to convince them, but eventually they gave in. That person was like, okay, I want a kickback. I mean, I didn't know if Cash Money knew about that, but we'll get to that later in the story, if I remember. So we worked it out. This person wanted a kickback. My job is to collect money, whatever money, put it into a company called Cash Money Marketing. I guess said person would take their cut and give Cash Money the difference. Whatever happened, whenever I put it in the account, it is what it is, right? So this was sometime 2015-ish. A couple of months in to when I was putting money into accounts, finding money and things like that, the dispute between Lil Wayne and Baby came up, or Cash Money and Lil Wayne came up about them owing Lil Wayne $50 million, and you know, I don't know if they had the money or didn't have the money, or if they were just disputing contractually or what have you until they gave him the money or what have you. I just, you know, it was kind of vague, but I just remember there was a dispute over $50 million and Lil Wayne not getting it, and maybe Wayne was going to sign to Jay-Z, or he was looking for other options, or maybe he was going to go directly to Universal or something like that, or I really just can't remember the situation at the time. So what I do recall, which was vivid, that during that time, the person doing the day-to-day reached out to me and told me to stop finding money for Cash Money, stop putting money into the accounts, because they wanted to co-collaborate with said corporation to put Cash Money in a bad situation, to where, let's just say, the corporation would have the option to buy the company from under them, because they were hoping that they didn't have $50 million to give to Lil Wayne. So they were thinking that Cash Money was going broke, and they were vulnerable, and they smelt blood, and the corporation might have the option to buy the catalog or the company from up under them. And they wanted me to be a co-collaborator to Cash Money's downfall, and I thought that was kind of weird. I don't remember what answer I gave them, but I knew I wasn't doing that. So it might have been about a year later or months later, I met up with Baby and Slim at a Quad Studio, and shout out to my man Smitty, because he came with me, and I think he was the resource to get me to see Baby and Slim direct. And we met up with Baby and Slim at Quad Studio in New York City, and I told them what was going on. Hey, the person that does your day-to-day, I'm feeding money into the Cash Money account. I don't know if you guys know. I was actually giving them a kickback. They were taking a kickback. I actually had the paperwork, and I showed them the paperwork. Like, yeah, you know, here's the paperwork. It's in the email. You see, I was kicking them back money and stuff like that. And they actually wanted me to collaborate in your downfall by not putting money into the account. Don't enrich them with anything. We want them to go dry so that there's the option where the corporation can take the company from up under them, you know, to see if there was the option of you taking this money, you know, as a presentation, you know, to sell the catalog over to the corporation. Obviously, they didn't know nothing about that. I told Slim, I was in the room with Slim first for about 45 minutes. And I told Slim that, you know, he was pretty smooth, you know, he doesn't say many words. He was just, but whatever he said was effective. And I told Baby, came in maybe about 45 minutes later, you know, he was way more animated. I don't want to say what he was saying, but, you know, I couldn't say that on camera. I just not going to share that, but he was a lot more animated with his feelings. And, you know, obviously they both didn't like what they heard from me. Yeah, so I just had to relay that message to them, you know, letting them know that. And the reason I'm pretty much saying these stories is because I'm just letting you know how undermining the corporations are in this business. You know what I'm saying? They will, you know, manipulate you any way possible to try to get a gain. They will, you know, they don't see it as bad business per se. They just see how to enhance their portfolio by any means necessary, you know. And I don't view it like that. Obviously, Cash Money didn't, you know, view it like that. And, you know, they prevailed at the end. And obviously, they didn't have to sell their catalog or anything like that. You know, they worked out whatever business they had worked out, you know, and, you know, they're still doing, you know, good things to this day. But, I mean, this is why I fight the fight. You know, I see things like this, big and small, all the time. You know what I'm saying? From companies, and obviously a lot of them don't like me, and I don't really have too many feelings for them either. You know, because I've seen it, you know, pretty much all my life, and I can kind of see what other people can't. Maybe like fresh eyes, like a detective. You know, for me, just, you know, y'all being in it. Sometimes from being from the outside, it's just a little bit easier for me to see things, and maybe, you know, people's emotions are tied in where they don't really want to see the realities of things, and, you know, I give them clarity of reality and from the outside, and, you know, give them a different perspective of insight of what's going on, and kind of put the battery in their backs to, you know, fight the good fight. You know, I mean, I got a family right now, you know, that inherited, you know, I got an estate right now that inherited a catalog from their father, who was a famous singer from the 60s and 70s. So now this is a different corporation per se. And, you know, this guy is wildly popular musically. I don't want to say no names, but, you know, this guy had a bunch of children, 6, 7 children or so like that. And the catalog is split up between individual the kids. They have their own payee accounts per se and their own publishing companies. And money gets split up from the corporation, you know, 6, 7 ways. And this corporation per se is given undermining royalty statements per se, and not paying them on time. And when they do get a statement, it's nothing but lies. And they purposely try to put them in bad situations so they could just turn around and say, hey, you know, oh, you're needing money? I'll buy this catalog from you. You know what I'm saying? So they can enrich themselves and get you out the way, so they can keep the lion's share of the money that comes in perpetuity after that. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen part of the family sell the catalog back to the record company. And then I got the other half of the family who hasn't sold the catalog, but I'm telling them like, hey, these royalty statements is fake, you know, so we got to fix that. And then I got to pretty much figure out at the same time that, oh, you know, we got to maybe get some lawyers on top of this company to try to get back the catalog, because we might be able to prove that they were giving you fake royalty statements to manipulate you into selling the catalog due to your disparity, you know. So it's an everyday fight, everyday game of, it's just a game, you know. It's just a game, and there's no feelings there's just no feelings involved. And whoever's kind of, I just noticed whoever's holding the money is, they just feel it's theirs. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it goes. I mean, I've been through lawsuits with other people like that you might know, you're familiar with. And I'm not speaking about Sugar Hill or anything like that. It's not them who I'm talking about in this case scenario with this, you know, high figure artist with their estate. I'm just, you know, this is just one of many, and this just everyday fight. I wake up to this plus that every day. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you just got to fight the fight to see, you know, if you can. I mean, it's exhilarating just to see if you can surpass the parameters and see how far you can get. And you know, you don't win every fight, but you even from losing, you get educated. So maybe now you know next time how to work around things, and you can actually win from losing. It's kind of weird to say that, but you really can. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to express that. So you know, it's a daily fight. Like, share, subscribe. If you need consultation, I do consult. It comes with a fee. I don't really feel like I need to talk to people for free. I mean, but I mean, if you got a sympathetic story and you don't have any money, I guess we'll work it out, because I don't want to see you lose like that. So I mean, just hit me in the DM. You know, don't be afraid to do that. Just tell me what's going on, and we'll see if we could work it out. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. I appreciate it. I'm out.